Okay, hello everyone. Nice to see you here. Today, me and my colleague Igor gonna talk about some kind of automation for bug bounties, for penetrate penetration tests, and other fun stuff. So, my friend Igor, he's a penetration tester, bug bounty hunter, so etc. 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 He liked to break stuff. Me too, my name is Igor. I'm a penetration tester from Russia, and most of my free time I'm spending doing bug bounty stuff on HackerOne, Bugcrowd, Sina, Cobalt Core. And today we're going to talk about some automation related to bug bounties, also some information about tools that already exist and research in this area. We also want to show our tool when we put together all the things, but at the same time, no need to forget about your own modifications, your own research, because it's really matter in bug bounties. Because if you are using public available tools, it wouldn't fit, you wouldn't get a real result because everyone launches it. So you need to improve or create something on your own. And first of all, let's describe the problems we're pretending to solve. Penetration tests and bug bounties become more popular from year to year. It gets really trendy to launch private bug bounty program after penetration tests. And but the main thing here is that you, as a tester, are supposed to perform a big amount of same checks all the time, and no matter if it's bug bounty or ordinary penetration test, you are doing monkey job sometimes. And you should be sure that all necessary assets were covered. So, were covered, and it turns you to do this job again and again all the time. And this isn't really what you want, right? And what's the way to find a solution? And first, you just need to automate all your common checks. And manual checks you are doing every time. Yeah, it's simple. So then you need to add your custom payload and your custom checks through your detection mechanisms. So to be on the, I don't know, some kind of cutting edge of well-known vulnerabilities, fresh, brand new one-day vulnerabilities, and you need to do it all the time. So it means you would have more time for actually doing research of the application logics to find more custom security logical flows, 0 days, which is much more interesting than and most profitable in case of bug bounties. So it's likely to be more critical issue to your customer or bug bounty program provider, because such issues won't be found even with paid scanners, because it can check the custom logic. And the strategy looks really quite simple after you create initial project of your own scanner, and automate something. You should stay ready and update it with one-day vulnerabilities that can be automated, or some 0 days you found just to be faster than the bad guys that's trying to hack someone. It's often necessary to recheck all scopes and programs each time you have in your list, because continuous monitoring is really matter, and it might be useful in case of bug bounties. So sometimes any kind of issue might exist and you might miss it at first initial scan, and at first time you're looking into it, but then you recheck it with your new updates of your scanner, and you find an issue, you can report it and get your bounties. It's simple. So the main idea of such scanner and building of your own tool is that you are not trying to compete with paid scanners such as, I don't know, Nessus, Econetics, etc., because they have a really big developers team. They have researchers who is trying to update and improve their scanners, but you can be sometimes faster than them if you are updating your tool properly and every time when some new kind of or type of vulnerability appears. So if you're adding your custom checks to your tool, that might be missed by paid scanners at some time if their developers didn't add it quite fast, or if scanner update is incoming, I don't know, each month, or so if you are doing it faster than them, you get your money. And now I'm gonna talk about some kind of issues that is really easy to automate, and I believe it's a lot more areas might be covered, but I let it up on you because you will build your own scanner, your own tool, and of course it would be a bit different from ours. So first thing, it's actually Recon step, and it was automated really many times with a lot of tools that were publicly released and might be installed and launched with no any hassle. So you need to remember that you need to gather subdomains with passive enumeration, then you're trying to brute force it and search using search engines, public APIs, find some kind of not leaked instances and just analyze them. You can do this with scripts like, I don't know, maybe old one Sublister, which was really popular a few years ago, or more fresh solutions such as MS or Subfinder, which is written in Go and working like a charm. So when you add some kind of subdomain enumeration stuff to your tool, you can improve it with continuous gathering using public APIs of search engines such as Shodan, Census, Google Docs, everything you want. Then you actually perform lookup through every interesting sources you may find useful in your manually analyzing. Then one more necessary step is to find some parameters that might be used. So you can find an endpoint, and but it wouldn't work without correct parameters. So you need to pass it to this endpoint, and then you may try your luck and find some vulnerability. But first of all, you need to analyze JavaScript files using, for example, link finder script, and you can try to extract these endpoints and parameters from existent content on the website, if we are talking about website analysis. So then you can also use param miner, which was designed for Burp Suite, but its source is really portable and can be converted to your own command line interface tool and involved in your script. Then you can try param pam pam script, which was created by my friend, Russian researcher. Boom, maybe you've seen his reports, and it used some kind of magic mathematical algorithms to increase enumeration time, and so it's working quite good in a case when you need to try to brute force something really quick. I heard about a script called Arjun, but I'm not quite sure that it's used in our tool. So a lot of same things might be used as well. The next step, and this is quite a logical step, to identify the technology in that were used in resource development lifecycle, and I like Webalizer really much. It's a good extension for browsers and doing his job quite good. But it also can be used in your scanner as a CLI script. So, or if you want, you can use web script. Anything, just gather information from tools you want, then filter it and get the bigger output. So the next step, you may want to perform some type of visual identification, because it might be hard to knock at every door when your subdomain enumeration tools gather it around 10,000 of subdomains. You need to filter some false positive results and false negatives and find your targets. So tools like Aquaton, Eyewitness, or maybe your own tool, which is easy to build with headless Chrome, or if you like JavaScript with Phantom.js, might help you to solve this task. And a hard not to notice this kind of check. It's a subdomain takeover, which is used to pop up every year for a lot of bug bounty programs, and sometimes it appears on the same asset every year because just, I don't know, sysadmins always forget to expand time of works. So it already, subdomain takeover was already automized in a lot of scripts, and of course you can spawn one more script like this just after understand the can I take over XYZ cheat sheet, which was made by Ed Overflow, really cool guy. So, and the easiest step, I think, is to configure some tools such as Petator or any tool based on your own choice to perform some simple brute force attempts if the website you are testing is not covered with a lot of JavaScript, and if you are dealing with some kind of basic authentication or a simple form, you can brute force it with the top 10 usernames and maybe a top 10,000 of most common passwords. And sometimes, from my experience, it's the fastest and really easiest way to do your job and get into some system, because I don't know, credentials such as test or admin is working sometimes. It's really crazy. As I said, you always need to update your scanner with custom and fresh checks, but you also should automate the well-known vulnerability lookup. So we have a great script vulners for Nmap. It would help you to cover this area. And a few months ago, I found the repository that called web CVE tests, and it refreshes, I don't know, really oftenly, and you can include it just to check some kind of web application issues. And at the end of this part, there's a lot of injections all the time, and we have a lot of updates about any new bypass techniques or one-day vulnerabilities. And as I said, if you are adding it faster than new update of paid scanner, so you'll probably gotta get your bounty or fame or whatever you're looking for. And so now my colleague will continue to talk about currently released projects in this area and, of course, our tool.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Igor, and I'll continue our talk about this thing. And now I do some small review of the tool, which you can use nowadays in a bug bounty sphere, and also in save your time. So let's begin. First is a Project Black. It's released few weeks ago. You can find it on a GitHub. It's made by one Russian guy. You can check on a commits. We start building it 3 years ago. So it's very well coded software you can use for your pen test, bug bounty stuff, and the other projects. It's very extendable, and you can use it in a Docker because it's easy to configure, easy to expand, and very awesome thing. This is a part of the interface. On a screenshot, you can track all your changes, all your project, all your scope in one place. It's very awesome. The next thing is a custom board made by Black to Fan. This is a guy from Twitter. You can also check his name on HackerOne board, and maybe you heard about it. He frequently report a lot of CRLF vulnerabilities. And last year on Zero Nights 2018, he present his automatic thing on a conference, but it's still not released. But it's very awesome as an example what you can do and how you can invest your time to save a lot of money and time to check everything. If you're using only one checks, for example, CRLF, and earn a lot of cash. Of course, it's not cover everything, but you can focus on only one vulnerability and use it all the time and check everywhere. The next thing is a Recon. It's still open source on a GitHub. It have very simple console UI. To be honest, it's just a launcher for several tools and create one output using Python and Lua scripts. So it's very good for initial checks for anything you want to check for first time and save a lot of time. For example, if you are found new scope and want to make initial recon, you can launch it for whole night, woke up and start working. Striker is the next tool, which also has the same logic. It's still open source and CLI only. It's very good for scan and recon. And now I realize I forget to say, so these tools is selected by us based on our tests because right before starting writing our small tool, we are test a lot of tools and now pick the special with good functionality and with good outputs, with good installation process and dependencies because for example some weeks ago I tested a couple of tools and it was very hard to install and very hard to use and it was very unstable, so these tools is very good and easy to install and easy to use and helps you to improve your processes of bug bounty and penetration testing. Next thing is Sniper. So it's also provide web interface and API, so you can automate it and visualize your results. It's written on PHP and Python. So PHP is used for web app and Python and Bash script used for backend. It helps you to do initial recons, some custom checks, and you can change it as you want. and later just put some extra thing inside and use it as your own system if you want. The next thing is our free Recon. The tool helps you to crawl and expand your scope and expand your assets, but sometimes it stucks. I think it's because your hardware system, so better use it on your laptop instead of DigitalOcean or AWS instances, because it uses crawling and sometimes it's not enough memory and CPU power. So it's still simple step-by-step launcher for 3 or 5 tools in a row, and very good output in one place, combine all the results all together in one file. The last tool we review is Spiderfoot. It provides API, console output and console control things, and also a web app. So it's a very awesome thing for Recon. It takes a lot of time and very, very slow and very complex, but it's very good for make intelligence and crawl all information about the target. For example, you can provide twitter.com and launch it for one day or maybe night, and it crawls everything, use a lot of APIs like Census, Shodan, Google Docs, archives.org, and so on. So it's also support APIs for the other services. And if you provide your developer's account for different things like Twitter developer and stuff, you can get more information. So it's a very good thing. You can control all the process and sometimes pause and continue scanning if you have time. Very good. So the last part is about our tool. We don't provide the result of our job. We just want to share our ideas and how we are build it based on our experience, our researches, and how we do it. So first thing is a web UI. Of course, it's not necessary because you can control all the things from a terminal, and sometimes it's better because you can split your threads on different instances on DigitalOcean, AWS, and so on. But it's very good to visualize your data, your results, your output, and you can save your time in the end to see the results and compare between your host assets and so on. But it's also time killer because you need extra time to develop it, support it, expand functionality, and also analyze the results and the outputs from the different things. But it's very awesome if you have time and have skills to build it. The next thing is test and complete altogether different tools. So as I told before, we spend a lot of times to pick the right tools, the right ideas of the tools in different spheres. For example, to finding open redirects on a website, we pick 10 or more tools, spend a whole weekend and test it on different scopes and different assets, domains, APIs, and so on. And after it, choose the best one. Sometimes it's not one, sometimes it's 2 or 3, and run it one by one and combine the results. Sometimes we are changing the source code, but it's a tricky way because sometimes developer, after few updates, they change the whole logic of a tool, and you cannot use it when you change the source code. So better just pick some tools what you like and use it in your system. And of course, better to track all the changes because developers sometimes push the awesome functionality after a few updates, and from the first checks you can find these tools very useful. Sometimes it became useless and vice versa. Push as a mirror. As Igor told before, you don't want to compete with paid scanners like Iconetics because it covers more things. But then you're first. Who is the first is a matter. For example, it's very awesome. It's very good for example, subdomain takeover. If you find this domain first and provide the proofs, you earn bounty. So it means you have to create a push system for your chat, for your messenger, like Telegram, Jabber, IRC, Slack, or wherever you use. And when your tool found a possible vulnerability or possible finding, it should be immediately notify you about it, and you can switch all your processes to just recheck it, confirm, make POC, and report it. So the pushes that matter. The public tool we use in our project is open source and everyone use it. So when you use this tool, everyone use it. So the better to create custom checks for one-day vulnerabilities, or maybe rewrite some checks to improve the flow better than the public, and be the first who report it. And it's really matter because, as I told before, like Black2Fan just create his custom CR love checker and report it on a whole HackerOne assets and earn a lot of money. Finding relations between data is also matter because on some IP addresses and on some domains, you can find the same functionality and you have to filter it to save your time. Like if you're making screenshots of 10K domains, better to filter it and remove the duplicates and only focus on unique domains. Or if you find CDNs, you have to also remove it because sometimes it's useless and don't help you to find new bugs. Retest and rechecks is also matter because the first thing you have to create a flow of your initial scan, and after it you need to constantly recheck in. But you need to find the best position of frequently and delays to avoid the bans. Because if you're constantly recheck, for example, directories enumeration, you might be banned by a system for days, months, or maybe permanently. But if you put some delays, you can do it all the time, very slow, but you can find something new when it will be released by developers. So you have to improve this thing based on your statistic and your experience, and do it all the time. So the last thing is investing your bounty in your improving your tool, and avoid wasting your time to do the same job and focus only on new findings, maybe 0 days or improving 1 days payloads to save your time and script all the things you can do. So on the next 3 slides, I'll show you some of our already created things. So we already scripted square. We already scripted things like assets gathering, like for GoBuster DNS, brute forcing against domains to find the unique domains which not available from public APIs. We also script the things which combine IP addresses, scope, screenshots in one place, and we can change the scope manually or automatically based on your program. For example, this is for HackerOne, so it's built automatically, but on some pen tests, you can add your own scope and assets. Oh, it's all blur. It's on your own pen test. You can do it manually and push your IP addresses and domains in one place and control it. So in the end, I want to pay attention on things is like automatization is a matter because it saves your time. It's also applicable not for only bug bounty, it's applicable for pen test as well, and for your side job. Custom checks change the rules and helps you to find some things. Everything might be scripted and automated to save your time. And also you can create your own tools based on your experience, maybe on our tools, and maybe be the first in different spheres. So that's all. Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Any questions, maybe, or needless to say that we're also checking a lot of simple vulnerabilities after initial scan with some kind of just a bash scripting, but it's hard to show just the outputs of it. Yep. How often have you got sometimes, but yeah, very often. But if you are dealing with some kind of penetration test, or you can ask for this kind of access, or if you are dealing with a program such as HackerOne or Backroute, if you are using some kind of whitelisted emails for your testing, or you are adding custom header just to prove that you are a white hat hacker, so they'll probably allow you to do this. So but the harder thing is to should I use this microphone? So the hardest thing is to teach our system how to use better rates. So it should be really high to I don't know, to complete a job in a single night or single day, but to probably avoid a ban, of course. So right now we are just playing with rates and trying to configure some parameters to make different speed rates for our tool. Yep, but the main thing is you need to create continuous monitoring, and when your tool is know the program that it would be launched on every continuous monitoring attempt, it wouldn't be banned because it already know that, okay, so this is, I don't know, Uber scope. So I can launch a battery RAM because it wouldn't be banned, or if I'm scanning for back route and I don't know, SoundCloud. So I should decrease some limits because their I don't know, cloud front trying to ban us every time.
This is a common thing for Starbucks, for example. If you're working on it, you bend all the time if you launch automatic scans. So you have to do manual pen test instead of scanning, reinforcing directories, and maybe mining parameters. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you again.